number 10, James Franco. It's no longer a surprise to anyone that James is a bad dude, but his misdeeds date back to 2005. James and Tyrese Gibson starred opposite each other in a 2005 dramatic piece called Annapolis. The story follows Franco's character wanting to attend the titular Naval Academy and entering into a boxing tournament against some of the Navy's best and brightest. His main opponent is Tyrese Gibson. Throughout the majority of filming, James and Tyrese would regularly practice the choreography for the final fight of the film. Now, method acting is one thing when you just pretend to be someone else all the time, but it's different when you're literally punching your co-star for real. Instead of the normal film choreography allowing actors to fake hit each other, Franco was throwing real punches without warning. Gibson tried to be civil at first and asked him to lighten up, but Franco ignored him and continued to box his heart out. When asked about the incident in interviews, Franco defended himself by saying he was aware he made the set difficult at times and claimed to be so wrapped up in his role that he probably wasn't as friendly as he could be. Gibson, however, holds a massive grudge towards Franco, claiming he'd never step foot in the same room as him ever again. Good news for Tyrese, James got cancelled and Fast 11 comes out soon. At number 9, Bill Murray. Sony's first foray into the world of Charlie's Angels was a massive success when it was released, starring Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu as the Angels. The movie was filled with action, a bit of comedy, and one of the strangest performances ever delivered by Crispin Glover. Oh my god, that guy needs help. One interesting addition to the cast was the inclusion of Ghostbusters alumni Bill Murray as the man behind the mic Bosley. Apparently, the set was anything but a comedy after Bill found out a scene was rewritten without his knowledge. In an interview with the news outlet Deadline, Lucy Liu spoke about her time on set and the situation surrounding Bill's outburst. Apparently, he was away for a family event when a scene needed to be reshot for the film. Instead of using a stand-in, it was decided that the scene could be filmed without Murray's character being involved, so the scene went on without him. When he returned to find the change was made while he was gone, he was furious. He reportedly shouted at half the crew, including Lucy herself. At first, she wasn't sure why he was aiming his comments at her. She didn't write the scene, she wasn't the director. She asked if Bill was talking to her, which sent him into a full-blown meltdown. She decided to speak out on Bill's behavior on set, and he was ultimately written out of the sequel. Lucy is proud for speaking her mind despite being a relatively unknown actress at the time, and is glad that Bill's career seems to have suffered for it, because Lucy was just the first of many celebs to comment on his behavior, but let's save that for another time. At number 8, Jennifer Aniston. In 2010, Elle asked actor Jay Moore to describe his most awkward interaction with a female celebrity. Moore responded with a blind item that involved a certain leading lady who was upset to learn that he would be playing her love interest. This mystery diva reportedly yelled, "You've got to be kidding me," right to his face. He then revealed that the behavior that followed led to Moore regularly, quote, "go to my mom's house and cry." Asked if the actress happened to be Aniston, who played his love interest in the 1997 film Picture Perfect, Moore said he will never ever answer that. Well, on his More Stories podcast, he did answer that. Moore claimed Aniston pointed right at him on the first day of rehearsal and screamed, "6 guys they screen test. 6. The one effing guy I hate, that's the guy they hire." This apparently went on the entire day as Aniston kept bad-mouthing him to their co-star. Regardless of what really happened on that Picture Perfect soundstage, Moore has apparently never forgiven Aniston. In 2016, Sports Illustrated asked what was more satisfying, kissing Jen Aniston or firing Tom Cruise's character in Jerry Maguire. Moore answered, without question, firing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter. At number 7, Jennifer Lopez. The 2020 Super Bowl saw 2 pop icons taking the stage and making the night about them and not football. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez appeared together. They absolutely slayed, and their performance has gone down in history as the most memorable and shimmy-filled night in the NFL. Unfortunately, Jennifer did not want to share the stage. Following the show, as a part of her Netflix documentary Halftime, it was revealed that she was extremely annoyed at the NFL for forcing her to share the stage when she felt strong enough on her own, literally calling it the worst idea in the world. Her main concern was the fact that herself and Shakira were meant to occupy and share the same amount of stage time as a normal solo act rather than doubling it like she assumed would happen. Solo artists are normally given between 12 and 16 minutes of stage time, with most artists using that time to do a mashup of their most popular songs. In the documentary, a clip revealed that Jennifer yelled at her music director, complaining that she had 6 effing minutes, 30 seconds per song. Not enough. The worst idea is putting multiple people on the stage. To prove her wrong, one of the most recent performances on the Super Bowl stage saw 6 major artists share the 12-minute spot. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar were all able to make it work, and work work well, but Jen couldn't even fathom the 6 minutes she had to perform. At number 6, Jared Leto. Jared Leto has been a problematic figure in the world of Hollywood throughout a majority of his career. After first gaining notoriety for portraying the character of Lane Dixon alongside Dennis Quaid and Danny Glover, Leto quickly began building up his acting repertoire with roles in iconic films like Mr. Nobody, Girl Interrupted, and even taking a turn as the Clown Prince of Darkness, the Joker, in the 2016 film The Suicide Squad, which landed him a spot on this list. Jared has always taken method acting to the extreme, losing and gaining weight rapidly over and over again. It was this film in which he may have snapped. While playing the iconic Batman villain, Leto purposefully distanced himself from his fellow actors on set, and reports are that he sent his castmates used adult toys. At one point during filming Captain Boomerang, actor Jay Courtney found a live snake in his trailer following a long shooting day. The snake wasn't venomous, but I think we can all agree that's a big ol' nope. In recent years, he's claimed that any gifts sent to his castmates were sent with the intent of joy and excitement and were received as such. I don't know, exposing your fellow actors to your bodily fluids and actual snakes doesn't sound very exciting to me. At number 5, Wesley Snipes. Ryan Reynolds is known for many things. He's got his toes dipped into the world of adult beverages, wireless cell phone coverage, and he's even a soccer coach. One of his most iconic roles as an actor is of course Mr. Deadpool himself. However, in 2008, Ryan was a part of a different Marvel movie. As some may know, the original Marvel movie that started this whole live-action comics trend was the Blade trilogy, starring Wesley Snipes as the titular vampire hunter. By the time of the third film of the franchise rolled around, Wesley Snipes was just done with working on set. He hated the way the franchise was turning out, and all of his creative suggestions were quickly shut down. His main problem, though, was the fact that Blade Trinity was written as a straight-up comedy movie. The previous entries were dark action movies filled with gore and some pretty stellar fight sequences, so when Van Wilder was cast to be his co-star, he gave up. He famously refused to film several scenes unless he was allowed to keep his shades on, and apparently he was micro-napping during scenes because he just didn't care anymore. Ryan played a big part in his difficulty enjoying the shoot, making it his mission to make Wesley snap. He would constantly do bits, push things too far, just the general Ryan Reynolds chaos that we're used to at this point. At the end of the day, Blade Trinity ended up burying the franchise and was one of the most chaotic and toxic film sets of 2004. At number 4, Kiefer Sutherland. The man known for his roles in movies like Lost Boys and Stand By Me has built a nice little place for himself in Hollywood. For a long time, he was starring in the crime drama 24. Many celebrities have made small cameos and recurring roles on the show, but in 2010, Scooby-Doo actor Freddie Prinze Jr. was cast as Agent Cole Ortiz. Despite the massive success of the show, the job left him scarred, admitting that he hated every moment of it. According to Freddie, Kiefer is the most unprofessional dude in the world. Continuing to say that he wasn't talking trash, this was something he would happily say to Kiefer's face, and apparently a ton of his co-stars agree that he makes filming a living nightmare. Following the end of his character's time on the show, he did slow down in the acting world, now limiting himself to voiceover and cameo roles. The odd thing was that while there were some backing up Freddie's story, there were a higher number of defenders for Sutherland, claiming the exact opposite experience. Some say he's the most professional man in the world, so if anyone watching this knows Kiefer, weigh in. Are you Team Kiefer good or Kiefer bad? At number 3, Alyssa Milano. Alright, so let's talk about the show Charmed for a moment, a solid series that was on the air for almost 10 years. The series followed 3 sisters who discovered they were descendants of a line of good female witches and are destined to fight against the forces of evil. Yeah, it was a fun show, however, just because you play sisters on set doesn't mean you're as close in real life. Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano had a very public altercation that resulted in a little incident on set being shared with the world. Rose claimed that Alyssa threw a fit in front of the crew yelling, "They don't pay me enough to do this stuff," only she didn't say stuff. She called Alyssa's behavior appalling, claiming she cried every time the show got renewed for another season because it meant more time on a toxic set. Alyssa never shared her own comments on the situation, confirming what she was being accused of. At number 2, Richard Gere. Richard Gere is one of those actors that doesn't really act. Sometimes people just get hired for films because they have the face for it or the style. For Richard Gere, he did not have enough class and moxie to keep a handle on his role in the film The Lords of Flatbush. He was cast to star alongside Rocky himself, Sylvester Stallone, and according to Sly, these two did not get along. Their beef was strong and long-lasting throughout production until it finally came to a head when one day Richard was a little too into a scene and grabbed Sylvester aggressively by the collar. When Stallone told him to lay off, he laid in instead. The scene was being filmed on Coney Island, and when the actors took a break, they tried to break each other. Stallone was eating a hot dog alone in a car. Sounds peaceful. But suddenly, Richard stormed in to join him with half a chicken dripping in mustard. Despite Sly's warning about the mustard, it dripped all over his pants. In true Rocky fashion, he elbowed Richard in the head and threw him out of the car. The altercation resulted in Richard being fired from the project. Oh no, we have to decide between Richard Gere and Sylvester Stallone. I wonder how quick that decision was. And at number 1, Dustin Hoffman. Dustin is a very easy man to spot. Not only is he a solid actor, but he has a very specific face. Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, anyone? Remember that movie? I did not remember that existed until I started writing this script. I will be watching that tonight. Despite his ability to play lovable and cheerful characters, he actually started out as somewhat of a villain. On the second day of filming his more famous part in Kramer vs. Kramer, Dustin decided to improvise a scene where he strikes his co-star Meryl Streep across the face. Let me rephrase that. Dustin Hoffman thought it would be a great idea to strike Meryl Streep. Mamma mia, that's not okay. Not only was Meryl shocked by the move, but she recalled that Dustin was also trying to use a tactic on her called emotional recall, taunting her about her late partner John Cazale and his illness.
Beginning our countdown is Miley Cyrus. She's probably never surprised at this point when people call her out on things on social media. A trend started going around on TikTok where people would expose celebrities that they met as a way to let the fans know what they're like in real life. A user named Jonah Ford works in a restaurant in Hollywood and said that he's had to handle tons of celebrities because of it, Miley being one of them. He started off by saying nice things about her, saying that she's really pretty in person and also very nice, but then he exposed her for lying about being a vegan.
She claims to be vegan, but she's not because she ordered a burger and chicken at a restaurant. She also does not tip.
If you follow Miley, her veganism is something that she prides herself in and actively fights for animals. He said that she ordered chicken and a burger while eating at their restaurant. I mean, these are some serious claims in the vegan community. Like, they don't mess around with that. But he also said that she's not very bright and that she put ketchup on her salad by accident, which is like really random and I don't really know if I believe it. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I gotta say. Coming in hot at number 9 is Hailey Baldwin. This one turned into a legal issue because the claims that exposed her are said to be false. It really just depends on whose side of the story you believe, so I will let you be the judge of that. A doctor named Daniel Barrett got exposed on the TikTok app after he started suggesting whether or not celebrities had plastic surgery. People were voting that he do a video on Hailey Baldwin, which he did, and in it he said that he thinks she has, and told his viewers to pay attention to the change in her nose. After the video went viral, Hailey and her husband Justin Bieber threatened to sue the doctor for false claims and defamation if he did not remove the video. Hailey confirmed that she has never had any work done on her face, but the doctor stands with his opinion and refused to take it down. In at number 8 is Lauren Goodwin and Sebastian Bales. This couple has a huge following on both YouTube and TikTok, but they were recently exposed on TikTok for one of their YouTube videos. Their content is normally different pranks and challenges that they kind of play against each other, but one of their pranks went too far. Sebastian posted the video to his YouTube page and titled it, "Fighting in front of our friends prank, bad idea." The beginning of the video is Sebastian telling his viewers that him and Lauren are going to prank their friends by pretending to be in an abusive relationship and get into a physical altercation. People were furious with the video and decided to take it from YouTube and expose them on TikTok by reacting to video clips. They both faced a ton of heat for that. Swiping the number 7 spot is Lizzo. Similar to Miley, she too got exposed on TikTok after a fan called her cheap and said that she does not tip. A fan said that she often comes into the restaurant they work at after hours so that she can have the whole place to herself, probably to avoid the chaos of fans. I'm sure the restaurant employees don't mind working late if they are a fan of hers, but the least she could do is tip, right? Well, one person claimed that she came in after hours while they were working at a restaurant and stayed very late but did not tip. The fan posted pictures and shared her story on TikTok, but one thing she did get from Lizzo was some nail art stickers. Yeah, apparently she left some NFL nail art sticker packages at the bar. The girl who worked there actually took a picture of them and then shared it to her Instagram. I think she left them because it wasn't her team. I'm not sure if she actually left those as a thank you. Moving on to number 6 is Bad Baby. The rapper got exposed on all social media accounts, including TikTok, after people started claiming she was blackfishing in her Instagram video. She posted a video to Instagram where she looked like a different person, people saying that she looked like she was trying to be black. She claimed it was just for a photo shoot she was doing, so she got a spray tan and did her makeup different. She insisted that she was not trying to be black, but people found different clips of her allegedly blackfishing, like in other videos, and started making a compilation on TikTok and reacting to memes about her drastic change. So even if TikTok users missed out on her actual Instagram video drama, they were soon updated on TikTok. At the halfway point is Gene Simmons. The singer was exposed on TikTok for a few different reasons, but one of them was more serious than others. A TikTok user exposed him after he allegedly came into a restaurant they worked at and demanded certain things because of who he is. Basically, he is one of the people who say like, "Do you know who I am?" You know, those type of celebrities. They said he was demanding, rude, and did not leave a tip at the end of his visit. They also said that he kept referring to one of their staff members, who was Mexican, as Carlos, even though that was not his name. They said it was a racist joke that no one thought was funny, and that it could not have been a mistake because they wear name tags, and they also introduce themselves when seating them or taking their orders. Here now at number 4 is JoJo Siwa. After the Dance Mom star posted TikTok videos with a male named Elliot Brown, people started making claims that they were dating. Naturally, that's just basically what happens in Hollywood. You cannot just have guy friends. Now, people were okay with the idea that they were dating until someone exposed her and his age and said that JoJo was dating a 28-year-old when she was only 16. People were freaking out nonetheless, and it caused a huge controversy. JoJo ended up responding with a TikTok video where she joked about people saying that Elliot was her boyfriend. But the internet thought they were exposing her. Meanwhile, we later found out that he is only 18 years old and that they are actually just good friends. Honestly, I think people were spelling Elliot Brown wrong because I found the 28-year-old thing, but then I found the 18-year-old thing, and Elliot was spelt a different way. Taking over the 3rd spot is Lauren Gray. TikTok basically exposed her for moving on too fast from boys. After doing an interview with Genius, video clips surfaced where she talked about her previous breakup. The whole interview is her talking about how difficult the breakup was and how she couldn't eat or sleep and was taking melatonin every night, and basically that she was a complete mess. But then on her Instagram, not long after the interview, she posted a picture of her with a new guy in a pool. But when you clicked on his Instagram, he posted the same picture, but it was them kissing. The picture confirmed that they were more than just friends, and of course the TikTok world had to expose the facts. Because you basically cannot do anything on Instagram or Twitter without it being brought into the TikTok world. Because it is a different world over there. Let me tell you. Rolling into number 2 is Charli D'Amelio. Hollywood's biggest blogger, Perez Hilton, exposed her on TikTok during a tea time segment for having some issues within her family. Perez technically exposed Charli's dad, but since he's not like a huge star like Charli, she's the one who took the heat for it. Perez found an article which showed that her dad was arrested in 2014 for drunk driving, but the worst part was the article said that his 9-year-old daughter was in the car with him, either being Charli or Dixie. I can't do the math on their ages, but yeah. People were shocked to find out the information because her dad also appears in some of her videos, and their family even has their own TikTok account and probably makes money off of it. Of course, people can't really attack her dad online the way they can attack her, so unfortunately, they went after Charli instead. In our number 1 place is Lil Huddy. The famous TikToker's real name is Chase Hudson, but he goes by Lil Huddy online. He was dating Charli D'Amelio, the most famous TikTok star in the world who I just talked about in number 2, but then they split after rumors that he had cheated on her. Despite the rumors though, they ended on good terms. They posted really cute things because he denied the rumors and she believed him. But recently he got exposed by Charli herself after she publicly called him out for being a cheater. The rumors started up again and Chase tweeted, "All of this drama going on because I kissed Nessa when we were both single." Okay, so if they were both single, he wasn't cheating. But then Charli exposed him and responded with, "Then you shouldn't have come to my house after without telling me." That boy was at her house after? Yeah, that's all I gotta say. The truth always comes out. Chase retaliated by then exposing a bunch of other TikTokers for allegedly cheating on their spouses, but he did issue an apology to Charlie. Kicking off the countdown list, at number 10 is she gave away a fan's gift. One former Ellen fan tweeted out a story with photographic evidence that proved Ellen gave away her hard work. A girl named Danielle Acevedo tweeted out saying, "When I was 15 at the Ellen show, was doing a contest of fans making a bust of her and sending it to her. I worked so hard on this and even wrote her a letter. Weeks later, she used it as a prop in a game and gave it away to a random person with $500 attached to the bottom." In her tweet, she attached photos of her creating the art piece and then the screenshots from the episode where it was a prop in the game with 5 $100 bills taped to the bottom. Yikes. I mean, as a fan, that would be devastating because you obviously made it as a gift to Ellen, not to be given away to some of her other fans. Like, that was for Ellen. Coming into the number 9 spot is the time she almost got a waitress fired. A woman named Chris Farah shared her bad Ellen experience on Twitter and told the story when Ellen complained about her and almost had her fired. She said in her tweet that when she was working at a restaurant, she served Ellen and her wife Portia, and despite everything seeming okay, Ellen filed a complaint afterwards. Her tweet said, "I worked at Real Food Daily, served her and Portia at brunch. She wrote a letter to the owner and complained about my chipped nail polish. Not that it was on her plate, but just that it was on my hand. I had worked until closing the night before, and this was the next morning. It almost got me fired." Chris explained that she was a huge fan of Ellen, and when her manager pulled her into the office and asked if she served her, she thought maybe she was going to be getting on the show because she had told Ellen that she was an aspiring artist and comedian. But then, yeah, that wasn't the case at all. Oh, that would hurt. Swiping the number 8 spot is she told a celebrity not to talk to guests. A man named Josh Levesky told a story about his friend who used to work as a PA on her show. Apparently, the PA was chatting with the guest star of the day, Russell Brand, and it caused some tension. The tweet said, "Another friend of mine was a PA on her show, and when Russell Brand came into the employee break area to chat with the crew and hang out, Ellen came in and got mad at him, saying he didn't have to interact with those people. And that is why guests have their own area backstage. Clearly, Russell knows that he doesn't have to talk to anyone." If this story is true, I just don't understand why she would care. Ellen has always been very open and she always interacts with her guests and her audience. She dances with them. So why would she care? In spot number 7 is she left a pregnant woman with no benefits. A woman came forward and told a personal story about one of her close friends who worked for Ellen for over 5 years. She goes by the Twitter name Cassandra Tells You So and tweeted out the story saying, "After working for Ellen for over 5 years, close friend left to have a baby and found a different job on a union network with benefits, etc. Ellen begged her to return to work and then fired her after 1 week, no reason given, and my friend struggled for a long time with a new baby and no benefits." I'm left a little speechless after this one. I'm sure there is more to the story than just those few sentences, obviously. It sounds like there were a lot of factors involved, and I'm kind of hoping that this one isn't true, because obviously that's awful. Moving on, at number 6, we have the time she wanted specific food. It's no secret that Ellen is vegan and does a lot when it comes to fighting for animal rights. But one person said she went just a little too far when it came to wanting a specific vegan food item. A woman online came forward and said, "I was PAing for the Letterman special and her rider was 50 items long, and one was a specific vegan cauliflower puff that are rarely sold. So I had to drive to 15 different grocery stores to find it, and then she didn't even touch it." Yeah, that'd be annoying. I understand that you need a vegan menu if that's what your diet consists of because of allergies or your beliefs, but that specific of an item I get would be totally frustrating for a PA because I've been on movie sets before and stuff, so that's really annoying. I get it. We're halfway through and we have how she treats her staff. A writer who used to work for her named Benjamin Simon said that she didn't treat her staff very well and took a few examples to Twitter. One of his tweets said, "A new staff member was told every day she picks someone different to really hate. It's not your fault, just suck it up for the day and she'll be mean to someone else the next day." They didn't believe it, but it ended up being entirely true. He followed that tweet with another ridiculous claim saying that when she's in a bad mood, upper management will highly encourage them to go into her office and do a little comedy bit to help cheer her up. I mean, sometimes a laugh is what we need when we're having a bad day, but I did find a lot of stories online claiming that she doesn't treat her staff properly. So Rolling into number 4 is the time she got exposed by a hairdresser. A lot of these stories come from people who worked for her or through their friends who said that they had a bad experience with her. But a girl named Anastasia told the story that a hair salon in LA deemed Ellen as one of the rudest celebrities that goes in there. She tweeted out, "I lived in LA, got my hair done at Michi, where there were a lot of celebrities. I always asked employees who was the meanest, who was the nicest. Nice were Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, Rita Wilson. Mean were Ellen, overwhelming number, and Charlize Theron, saw firsthand." So this is coming from different hairdressers who have celebrities going in and out of there all the time. So this one's kind of interesting because it's like a totally outside perspective. We're coming into the 3rd spot and we have, she asked a PA to give back their Christmas gifts. Come on, I feel like this is way too petty to be true. But someone came forward and claimed that they were friends with a PA that this happened to. A user named Nick Weiger tweeted, "Friend was a PA on our show, got their first staff writer job and put in their notice with Ellen. Instead of congrats, they were told to give their Christmas gift back." He followed his first tweet by saying that she only gives gifts to the staff members that she likes. Like I said, some of these stories are a little too petty to be true, unless she really is that petty. I don't know. Sniping the number 2 spot is the time she shut down a barbecue. This one is another example of a time when her passion for veganism came through. A wardrobe expert and best-selling author Alison Freer took her story to Twitter and said, "I was working on a show at Warner Brothers that was next to her stage. It was our showrunner's 50th birthday. There was a caterer grilling steaks outside for a special fancy lunch. Ellen sent someone over to demand they stop as she doesn't eat meat. She's the worst." This is how I see it. She's able to have her vegan lifestyle the same way that meat eaters can have their lifestyle. By them barbecuing outside, it doesn't mean that you have to eat it. I mean, I'm sure you've been to a restaurant where they're cooking meat in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Finally, we have made it to number 1, and we have the time that she compared quarantine to jail. This happened recently, and people online started attacking the comedian and exposing her for taking a joke too far. During quarantine, Ellen decided to keep her talk show going through YouTube videos, like us, and one of them caused her to remove it from social media. In one of her videos, she made a comment saying, "One thing that I've learned from being in quarantine is that people, this is like being in jail. It is what it is. It's mostly because I've been wearing the same clothes for 10 days and everyone in here is gay." It wasn't long before the joke was being slammed all over the internet. One person called her out and said, "Disappointed in Ellen for joking about being in jail while she sits in her multi-million-dollar mansion with access to anything she wants. Many of us are struggling to get essentials and are exposed on the front lines, but please continue exercising your privilege." That was just one response, guys, all right? The YouTube video was listed unavailable not long after the backlash started.
Number 10, the NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Marvel will literally have someone take you out even if a single line leaks to the public. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guest stars are made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the person who made his muffins. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign this document, and one former employee, Elizabeth Cody, tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was apparently stopped by the courts, still being tied to the agreement that she had signed. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to just keep show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the documents were signed by almost everyone in her life. She may have this brand of sweetness and kindness, but that is not how she is. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, a lawsuit was filed against Oprah and her company, Unicus Performance Training, claimed that they were fired for violating the terms of her agreement, specifically involving advertising with her name or the website or the show. Number 9, a diva. On air, Oprah is portrayed as a wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmom, there is an unknown side to this woman. Hidden from fans for years, according to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you'll ever meet. She claims that Oprah would not allow them to stay at her house when they tried to visit, forcing them to stay in hotels with money out of their own pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was quick to anger when it came to her staff, with several people being fired left and right over the years, but that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara allows her to stay at her home for visits, something that Oprah apparently hates. The first time she stayed over, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets were not 1,000 threads and her bath towel wasn't big enough. I get the bath towel thing, big bath towels for the win, never going back. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and what she wants to do apparently is just make her stepmom's life a living hell. Number 8, controversial beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people on her show, from medical experts, fake psychologists, to celebrities. Whatever's good for TV is good for Oprah, but one particular incident that caused a ton of backlash for Oprah was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets and how she was able to look so young. Well, according to some, this treatment that she does on a regular basis will help. Suzanne claimed that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone onto the other arm. Progesterone is just a fancy way of saying steroids. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirred the pot was that this woman claimed to be a health expert and a self-help author, but surprise, surprise, doctor, she is not. Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy would actually be the cause of several diseases and illnesses, like cancer. Despite Suzanne's claims that her specially made non-FDA approved bioidenticals are natural and safe, they're actually just synthetic, conventional hormones that you can buy at a pharmacy. Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that the methods were useful, even claiming to have used some of these methods that made her feel incredible. So this lady would rather risk her audience getting cancer than just telling them the truth. That is solid. Number 7, an advocate for Maui. Oprah was claiming to be many things during the whole Maui backlash thing. A good boss, a charitable woman, and an advocate for the island of Maui. By starting her Maui fund and donating her spare millions, she made her mark in the public as a woman who she cares so much that she's asking you to give her money as well. Isn't that nice? As I've mentioned in previous videos, Oprah would not care about Maui or its people if she didn't have a vested stake on the island. Oprah's had property in Maui for quite some time, being almost a second home to her, and when the fire started raging, she started funding. But think about all the other things that have happened in the past couple of years around the world. We all forgot about Australia on fire in 2020. Western Canada was on fire at the beginning of this year. Some parts of Florida have been underwater for months, yet Oprah has decided to dedicate her time and money to helping an area where she has a vacation home. Number 6, the free cars. Now, who could forget Oprah's famous words, "You get a car, everybody gets a car." The moment was historical on her series and was parodied time and time again, and it still does get parodied to this day. However, what a lot of people don't know is that it wasn't as simple as, here are some keys, have fun. When someone gives out anything on television, there's a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was, if they wanted to drive away in a brand new car, they'd have to pay $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover the sales tax and registration for each car, which was a lot, the audience members were given a choice to either pay the $7,000 and take their car home, or just simply take the cash instead. The infamous moment on the show featured 11 teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a car. They, along with the audience, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch even now. For someone who is known to be charitable and generous, the word free really means something different to Oprah. Number 5, there were fabricated memoirs. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show. It turned any book that she liked into a bestseller. In September of 2005, she picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Frett about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became a best-selling non-fiction book of that year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book. Oprah called it gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a pretty expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there's a section of the book that tells a story of Frey surviving a fatal crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers when he was never on that train nor had any involvement in the situation. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to come back onto the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of people around the world. She asked why James felt the need to lie to herself and the readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse that he could think of. He claimed that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot was real. The studio audience responded with waves of boos and gasps and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience because it wasn't her intention, but the damage had already been done. His career as a writer is currently non-existent. Let's talk about some of the celebrities that she has had interactions with. Number 4, Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the careers of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show before she is asked, did she always have this body? I mean, this is unbelievable. Come on, stand up. Now that's what I call a body. Thank you, that is my impression of Oprah. She is visibly uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheered as she showed off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment being told what to do by her superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type situation than anything else. At the time, this was just some weird thing that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments in her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that it was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman who was known for her kindness and generosity made her feel like a puppet. Number 3. Where's the beef? In spring of 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I probably butchered that last part. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous system, and if humans eat it, then we get zombies! No, but they can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman, the former cattle rancher, had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle, and he went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Conscience animal welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cow to Americans. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or any other animals could have facilitated a spread, and such practices were apparently common in the United States. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat a burger again. And it turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after that statement and the episode aired, she declared to never eat a hamburger ever again, and the price of beef stock plummeted, staying at an all-time low for 2 months. One Texas rancher actually lost an estimated $6.7 million that year and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about American beef. After about 6 weeks of a trial, she won, leaving one man with no farm and out thousands of extra dollars in legal fees. Number 2, Tom Cruise. Despite this man being in the Mission Impossible franchise, he's been in a lot of movies produced by himself. You didn't think Hollywood forgot about Oprah, did you? Following the announcement that he was engaged to Katie Holmes in the early 2000s, Tom appeared on an episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it has gone down as one of the most iconic TV moments of all time. From the moment he steps on stage, things are just going wrong. He throws arms in the air, he rubs Oprah's shoulder like she's got a stain that just won't come out. Tom jumped on her couch, grabbed her hands over and over. She couldn't even get any questions out. Eventually, Oprah was like, okay, I'm done, bring Katie out. And then Tom is just running through the hallways as cameras follow him Blair Witch style. The moment cemented Tom as a man with many hidden personalities, and while it has not affected his work as an actor per se, ever since that day, whenever he's brought in for press of any kind or interviews, all entrances and exits must be locked at all times for everyone's safety. Again, this man may be in movies still, but they're rarely anything new or good. Number 1, Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, or an unwelcome person, to Oprah after Whoopi was nominated for an Oscar for her role in the original version of The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appeared on Oprah's show again and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that the so-called feud was addressed. It turns out Oprah actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime around 2006, just after the snub. Goldberg confronted Oprah, leading to a hilariously adorable moment between them. She asked if she was mad at her, to which Oprah said, "I thought you were mad at me. Well, that's crazy." They mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone a long time ago and settled the dispute. Number 10, Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of the memoir is, of course, the revelation of what really happened when Britney and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin Timberlake got together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. Their connection was strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000 after she found out she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about the whole thing. In her book, she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, but this was just going to be a little bit earlier than she expected. It turns out Justin was not so excited and told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. This revelation may be part of the reason that Justin was reportedly so nervous leading up to the book's release. Britney revealed that if the decision had solely been left to her, she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin just so clearly did not want to be the father. In the book, she said that, look back, it's one of the the most agonizing things she had ever experienced in her life. Number 9. Mama Spears. One thing that comes up a lot in Britney Spears' memoir is her relationship to her parents. She discusses the strain that has been placed especially on the bond between herself and her mother, Lynn Spears. She dives deep into her childhood and what really went down, and in the book she said that she started drinking no-no juice with her mother when she was just in the 8th grade. Of course that is awful and nobody should ever do that because Britney wouldn't just have a sip of grape juice now and again. No, she would drink no-no juice like it was her job. She explained that for fun she started having fruity no-no juice with her mom while they were in Biloxi, Mississippi. To make things feel less, illegal, they would call the drinks toddies, named after the adult beverage that's basically just no-no tea. Britney felt a special bond with her mother because of this, especially considering the contrast between her mom and her father Jamie. You see, when her mom had a few, she was bubbly and happy, and same with Britney, but when Jamie had a few, he would get angry and depressed. The behavior is terrible, and while bonding with your parents is pretty awesome, that is not the right way to do it. Number 8. The Snake. Britney Spears has performed at the Video Music Awards a few times over her career, but none quite as memorable as her infamous dance with the snake at the 2001 VMA ceremony. Britney walked on stage and began a performance of I'm a Slave for You with a massive snake draped across her shoulders. At first it seemed cool, but throughout the performance she doesn't look at it once, keeping her head down or aimed directly at the audience. In the memoir she revealed that she is not only terrified of snakes, but that this one actually started hissing in her ears while she was on stage. Partway through the performance, the snake wraps around her and puts its face right near her ear where she claims it hissed so loudly that for a moment she thought it was going to bite her face off. But she continued with the performance and thankfully she still has her face, so that's very good. Number 7. The Notebook. While Britney may be known for her musical talents, she did have a short career in the film industry in the early 2000s. Her first role was in the film Crossroads, which despite having a stellar cast was apparently a very difficult experience for Britney. Although she was thrown off by that film, she was actually offered the co-starring lead role in The Notebook. The process went so deep that before production was set to begin, it was down to her and Rachel McAdams for the part. Now we all know what happened when Rachel McAdams got the role. She had a terrible time on set and spent 2 years with Ryan Gosling off screen. Yay! Britney said it would have been fun to reconnect with her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Ryan Gosling for a full-length feature, but in the end she's pretty glad that they didn't pick her. She instead decided to work on her album In the Zone, putting her creative efforts to good use despite this Hollywood rejection. Now, while the film has gone down in history as a rom-com classic, nobody can even fathom what a Britney and Ryan-led movie might have looked like. But it probably would have looked something like this. Number 6. Mickey Mouse Club. Now, I actually didn't know this because, to be honest, I'm not a big Britney Spears fan. Oh, I know, it's a shocker, I just scream pop music, but the first time I saw this woman on screen was genuinely in Austin Powers Gold Member, and her head exploded. So overall, pretty solid first impression. However, her actual first role in the acting world took place in 1993 after she landed a gig on the Mickey Mouse Club, a show that would turn out to be a huge part of her life. Despite the colorful set and overall just Disney-ness of the show, Britney explained that filming was never easy. She revealed that the show was like being at a boot camp for the entertainment industry. Extensive dance rehearsals, singing lessons, acting classes, time in the recording studio, school in between, it was a lot. In fact, much like school, she explained that the show's cast was divided into cliques, with the younger castmates being in one crew and the olders being in the other. She admitted that there were some fun moments, like sharing a little smooch with Justin Timberlake, but it was still a very grueling job. She said it was extremely hard to work, and more often than not, the groups would be in rehearsal practicing choreography 30 times a day. That's like 28 times too many. At the end of the day, Britney treated the club like a job that took up a ton of her childhood. Number 5. Jamie Spears. Britney's father, Jamie, has had a complex relationship with his daughter for most of her life. In her memoir, she shared the harsh judgment she constantly received from her papa. She explained that she thought getting criticized for her body in the press was bad, but it hurt even more when it was coming from her own father. He repeatedly told her that she looked heavy and that she really needed to do something about it. It wasn't that nice, but I'm paraphrasing. She explained that even as a small child, he never gave her the love or the attention that she needed. In the book, she said said that feeling like you are never good enough is a soul-crushing state for a young child. He drummed that message into her growing up, and even after she accomplished so much, he was continuing to make her feel like dirt. Jamie's wild opinions about Britney got so much worse when she was under her conservatorship. Under the conservatorship, Jamie was named as one of the several people in her life that could make important decisions for her, mind, body, and soul, and she was forced to grow her recently shaved hair back and get back into shape. For 13 years, Jamie remained in control of her life, right up until the suspension in 2021. Speaking of which, number 4, conservatorship. As many may know, Britney was placed under a psychiatric hold in 2008 following what we will call a difficult evening, and was later placed under a conservatorship by her father Jamie. In her book, she explained what she had been going through at the time. She said that shaving her head and acting out were her ways of pushing back. Under the conservatorship, she was made to understand that those days were now over. She had to grow her hair back, get back into shape, and she went to bed early and had to take whatever medications that they told her to. Britney revealed that she felt like an infant under the conservatorship and lost her passion for music. She explained that she started to feel more and more like a thing on stage rather than a person. In her book, she said she had always felt music in her bones, but her family kind of stole that from her. She reminded readers of the contrast between male and female artists, telling them to think of all the male artists who've gambled their money away, who had substance control issues or mental health issues, and many of them have never had control of their bodies or money taken away. Before the book was released, people were just under the impression that the conservatorship was some kind of a financial thing, but as her book has revealed, it's a lot darker than that. Number 3, The Secret Man. Among the many things being revealed in Britney's memoir, one shocking revelation was that she actually met and fell in love with a man while under her conservatorship that almost led her to fleeing the US with said man. She explained that she was talking to a guy that she really liked, and he wanted her to leave the country with him. Not creepy at all. They had a secret relationship for quite some time and were eventually set to make the journey across the sea. But when she opened up about the romance to her assistant, she was hesitant, saying that she was worried what her father may do. Her assistant guaranteed nothing would happen, but was proven wrong when she was forced into a mental health facility around the same time that she was supposed to leave the country. And there's never been a confirmation if the two situations are related, but it kind of feels like it is. Yeah, it feels like they were. Number 2, finding her voice. Britney has been through a ton in her life, but it turns out that we didn't even know the half of it. During her court testimonies, while she was attempting to reclaim her freedom, she said that she was forced to go to a mental health facility against her will in early 2019. It was almost 2 years ago that she regained control of her millions and every other aspect of her life. In 2022, her father requested to unseal all of the records from the duration of her conservatorship. Britney's attorney, Matthew Rosengart, called this move offensive and highly inappropriate. He explained that they did not believe a father who loves his daughter would file to unseal her medical records. Makes sense. Britney's new book is a new revelation to her side of things. A little over a year ago, her younger sister Jamie Lynn released a book called Things I Should Have Said, and in it she included a ton of details regarding Britney that seemed to paint her in a bad light. But most of Britney's fans felt that the stories were just a way to profit off her older sister during a time when she was still making headlines. And at number 1, lost all control. As previously mentioned, when Britney was placed under her conservatorship, every single aspect of her life was controlled by someone else, and mostly her dad. She was unable to make financial, physical, or personal decisions without running them through Lil Papa Jamie first, a man who is just notorious for being a terrible person both inside and out. While the conservatorship was dropped in 2021, the pain of her time is still lingering. She said that the conservatorship stripped her of her womanhood and made her feel like a child. In her memoir, Britney revealed that if she had been allowed to make her own decisions instead of her father, that she would be in a much better place. She wrote that 13 years of her life went by with her feeling like a shadow of herself. She constantly thinks back to the times her father would control her body or her money, and it makes her sick to her stomach. Most of her life was controlled by someone else for a very long time, but now that she's free, who knows what will happen next.
Starting off at number 10, we have Ellen DeGeneres. How could we possibly make this video and not include the queen of Two-Faced herself? Ellen DeGeneres. The 411 here was that Ellen was exposed for being one of the meanest people in Hollywood, while at the same time she is widely known to the public as someone who spreads positivity and kindness. Then it got even worse when reports came out that her show was incredibly toxic too, and she allowed terrible behavior to happen to the crew of the show. And while her show took a hiatus to deal with the claims, tons of former employees came out and told their stories. Then after months of laying low, Ellen opened her 18th season with a long-awaited apology. Part of the apology said, quote, "I've learned that things happen here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously. I want to say I'm so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize with that comes responsibility. And I take responsibility for what happens at my show." And although her adoring fans accepted the apology, tons of people did not, and people felt she didn't take enough accountability for being in charge of the show.
In our number 9 spot today, we have Gal Gadot. The world was introduced to Gal in the 2009 Fast and Furious movie, and we all fell in love when she graced our screens in 2016 as Wonder Woman, but 2020 was a bit of a fall from grace for the star. Remember that weird video at the beginning of the pandemic where a bunch of celebrities sang Imagine by John Lennon, and it all got edited together and released to the world like it would somehow help any of the millions of people absolutely struggling? Well, Gal was unfortunately the person who shared it first, as well as having the misfortune of opening that video and caught immediate flack for it. It got called out for how ridiculous it is that a bunch of super rich celebrities think that singing a song about letting go of material possessions would help anyone during a global pandemic where people are losing their jobs and their lives. I can appreciate the sentiment, but it definitely missed the mark by a long shot. Maybe donating their time or their money to people struggling might have been a better use of their free time, but who am I to say?
In at number 8, Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed in the light of the George Floyd protests, when multiple former Black Glee cast members spoke about how she was microaggressive towards them, with one actor stating that Michelle made her, quote, "first television gig a living hell," and even made her question a career in Hollywood. After even more people spoke out against Lea, she decided to apologize with a long note to social media. But there was a lot of issues with the apology, one being that she used the word perceived, making it seem like a non-apology, with a statement reading, quote, "The responses I have received to what I posted have made me also focus specifically on how my own behavior towards fellow cast members was perceived by them." And the apology was so bad that the actress who called her out in the first place said in an interview, quote, "All that her apology did was affirm that she hasn't learned anything."
In our number 7 spot today, we have Madonna. Similar to the Gal controversy, Madonna was another celebrity who posted a video that was just a touch inconsiderate. In March, we saw Madonna post a video on her Instagram where she was in a bathtub with milky water and rose petals around her, talking about how coronavirus is a great equalizer, saying that the virus doesn't care if you're rich or if you're poor, and how the good thing about it is also the bad thing about it. First of all, who knows what this means? And second of all, the virus may not care if you're rich or if you're poor, but Madonna bathing in milky water with rose petals is a pretty direct sign of how far removed she is from the real struggles that people are facing. Madonna came under immediate fire for the video and quickly removed it from her Insta feed, which is truly for the best.
In at number 6, Kanye West. Kanye was not only exposed this year, but also did quite a lot of exposing. The worst part being that he exposed some very intimate family secrets that the world had no business knowing. And when he did apologize, he publicly apologized to his family instead of to the general public. In the summer, Kanye went on a few tweeting sprees where he said disrespectful things about countless celebrities, including his wife and the other members of the Kardashian clan. And around the same time, he also had a campaign rally where he said that Kim was thinking of terminating her first pregnancy with her daughter North. In the days after, photos were released of Kim and Kanye fighting in a car, with Kim visibly crying. And as a response to everything, he tweeted out an apology to his wife, saying, quote, "I would like to apologize to my wife Kim for going public with something that was a private matter. I didn't cover her like she's covered me. To Kim, I want to say I know I've hurt you, please forgive me." And reports are now hinting that the couple is closer to divorce than ever, with Kim hinting that these outbursts might be a big part of the reason that they separate.
In our number 5 spot in our halfway mark today, we have Bobby Flay. Bobby Flay is a famous chef and TV personality who is said to be worth about $30 million, so it's understandable why people were pretty outraged at the fact that he set up a GoFundMe for his employees amid the pandemic. His employees obviously deserve to be paid throughout this tumultuous year, but why should it land on the shoulders of anyone who isn't a millionaire? People were questioning how you could continue living in a lap of luxury while asking for donations from people for something that is truly your responsibility. Bobby Flay was kind of acting like he was one of our struggling local businesses instead of the man
at the head of an empire. I appreciate the fact that he wanted to continue to support his employees because an insane amount of people lost their jobs this year and everyone should be able to continue providing for themselves and their families, but maybe Bobby should have pulled up his bootstraps and found a way to support them, or maybe called up a few other A-listers if the situation really is that dire.
And at number 4, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel was exposed and called out by Nick Cannon in June of 2020 for wearing blackface early on in his TV career. In the clip, Kimmel is impersonating basketball player Karl Malone in 2000 on his Comedy Central series The Man Show. Kimmel is also heard speaking in a dumbed-down voice while talking about alien abductions. After tons of outrage started against the late-night host, he came out with an apology. In the note, he starts off saying that he was reluctant to address the scandal because he knew it would be used as a political tool to undermine his political beliefs. Adding, quote, "The delay was a mistake. There's nothing more important to me than your respect, and I apologize to those who were genuinely hurt or offended by the makeup I wore or the words that I spoke." He continued by giving context that when he was portraying the character of NBA player Karl Malone, he only thought of portraying him for his personality, not his race. And although the apology was accepted by some, it was criticized heavily for the political undertones that were just really unnecessarily included.
In our number 3 spot today, we have Vanessa Hudgens. Okay, I know that all of my points are about coronavirus, but it's honestly kind of insane how out of touch these celebrities are. Earlier this year, Vanessa was live streaming on Instagram and was talking about how although she respects the virus, she didn't understand why we had to stay home because the disease might be deadly, but death is inevitable for everyone. She's not technically wrong, but how easy is it for a young, healthy person to make the decision that this isn't a big deal for every person in the world? People obviously immediately began to point out how ridiculous and insensitive these comments were. She ended up apologizing for what she said in an Instagram story. She initially said that her words were taken out of context, but after people explained how even with context her words were extremely insensitive, she ended up saying that her words were not appropriate at all. Hopefully this apology came from a place of actually learning from her mistake and wasn't just to get her drama swept under the rug.
Literally, I just have to include my opinion on this one. Her comments made no sense. She's like, oh, and like people took it out of context. What did you even say? Like, it literally made no sense at all, Vanessa Hudgens. I'm happy she apologized, but I don't think it was genuine. I think it was like oh, people are getting mad at me, I'll apologize. But it was like, girl, get off live. Get off Instagram live. And at number 2, Amber Heard. The worst exposing of the year was done to Amber Heard when audio was leaked that completely changed the narrative around hers and Johnny Depp's relationship. In 2016, Amber filed for divorce and claimed that Johnny Depp had abused her. There was a lot of back and forth over the years, but in 2020 was when the smoking gun was revealed. And at the beginning of 2020, Amber was exposed when the footage showed that she admitted to hitting him and mocking him, saying that no one would ever believe Johnny's side, making it clear that she was not the victim in any way, and she seemed to be the one that actually abused Johnny. The hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp started trending worldwide, and fans are hoping that he will get justice in court later this year. Johnny recently lost his court battle with The Sun, but public opinion is now strongly in support of Johnny, and I'm sure justice will be served. I mean, I'm just praying that it is at this point.
In our number 1 spot, we have Wendy Williams. Miss Wendy Williams is no stranger to controversy or being called out for the things she says, but one of her biggest 2020 scandals was when she said that gay men should stop trying to be the women that we are. There's a number of things that are just so wrong with this, and she of course immediately came under fire for it. The harmful opinion came from a discussion on whether or not gay men should be allowed to celebrate Galentine's Day, to which I have to ask, why is that even a question? It's crazy that these extremely insensitive remarks gained applause from her audience, but luckily the internet was having none of it. She did end up making an apology video, but has also said that she means what she says on the show, so I'm kind of confused as to which one is really the truth.
Beginning our list, number 10 is Ronnie Ortiz Magro, but you'd probably know him better as Ronnie from Jersey Shore. If you follow the show in more recent seasons, you would have seen the chaotic drama between him and his girlfriend Jen Harley, who is also the mother of his daughter. The show has captured many of their fights, but one of them was exposed by Jen after she secretly went on Instagram Live in the middle of one of their fights. Kind of a genius move. I mean, kind of crazy. Why film the whole thing and post later when you can just live stream to the entire world? I mean, you would never actually have to explain your side of the story because it was just happening in live time. So, kind of genius.
Stop! You got it! Oh, you got it! Get off of me! Stop!
Seriously, no, she went to live.
In the video, the fight turned physical, which exposes a completely different issue of physical abuse in the relationship. You can hear Jen's friend yelling for them to stop, trying to break up the physical altercation. Ronnie was trying to take the phone from her because he knew that she was taking pictures or filming, but he had no idea that she was actually on Instagram Live. And when he realized, he was pissed, to say the least. Up next, number 9 is Little Kim. Or Lil Kim. I feel like that is the proper way to say it. What happened was Danielle Bergoli, aka Bad Baby, recently got attacked online for being accused of blackfishing. She went on her Instagram Live to defend herself, and while doing so, she called out Lil Kim for whitewashing. Keep in mind, Lil Kim had nothing to do with anything, so it was really random as to why she would just start talking about her. But she brought up Kim in comparison and accused her of trying to be white. In her live stream, she said, "No disrespect to Lil Kim, but the girl wears foundation that's too light for her face. The girl went and got a nose job to have a smaller nose like white people. She can do what she do and make her happy, that is all her. But I'm saying she literally got surgery to make herself look like a white person." I feel like that is quite the accusation. You might be exposing her, but it might not be the truth. I don't think Lil Kim would agree that she's trying to be white. Rolling into the number 8 spot is Prince Harry. Back in 2012, the world of Instagram was left in shock after nude photos of him leaked while he was partying it up in Las Vegas. The pictures showed him naked in a Las Vegas hotel playing strip billiards with 6 young women. During this point of his life, he was trying to balance his life with the royal family and the army which he was serving in, and clearly a social life. At the time the pictures were taken, he was actually on a vacation before heading off to serve in Afghanistan. He was incredibly embarrassed for obvious reasons and issued an apology saying, "At the end of the day, I probably let myself down, I let my family down, I let other people down, but it was probably a classic example of me being too much army and not enough prince." Coming to number 7 spot is Iggy Azalea. Famous beauty YouTuber James Charles made a video recently where he DM'd his favorite celebrities and asked them to pick their favorite makeup product which he would use in his video. And in his video, he exposed all of the celebrities he asked with screenshots from their DM conversations. He had conversations with people like Rihanna, Kim K, Paris Hilton, Shawn Mendes, and Iggy Azalea. And by exposing their conversation, he also exposed that her makeup routine is trash. Those were her words, not mine. In the screenshot, she responded to his initial message with, "Haha, sure, but I have no idea what primer to tell you because I never use any. You know my makeup routine is trash, LMAO." In response to her message, he told her to pick a bronzer instead. Honestly, this is just hilarious to me, and I actually have mad respect for her now because, girl, I feel ya. What is primer? I don't know. I wouldn't be able to name a primer for you. And at number 6 is Jamie Lynn Spears. She made a name for herself from taking on the lead role in Nickelodeon show Zoe 101, but then left the show when she was just 18 because she became pregnant. So if you know her from that show, then you'd be shocked to see the footage that leaked on Instagram back in 2015. Surveillance footage showed that Jamie was not messing around when it came to a brawl that broke out in a dining area when she was in a pita pit. The brawl broke out and one of her friends happened to get involved, so she got in like defense mode. And when I say defense mode, I mean defense mode. She dives in and pulls her friend out of the fight and then calmly walks behind the food counter and grabs a long 7-inch bread knife and starts waving it around, trying to warn the people who were fighting. I did not see that coming from Zoe, the little 15-year-old Zoe 101 that I know. Damn, she got some fight in her. We've made it halfway and we have Amber Portwood. The MTV Teen Mom star got exposed by her boyfriend and baby daddy, Andrew Glennon, after she allegedly attacked him with a matchet. In July 2019, he filed a police report saying that she had assaulted him and attacked him with a matchet while he had their toddler son in his arms. Audio footage was later released on Instagram of his court statement where he shared a handful of different abuse stories completely exposing her. Obviously, the media had a help of exposing this audio footage. She was charged with domestic violence committed in the presence of a child less than 16 years old, as well as intimidation. It was actually up to a felony charge because of previous charges for domestic violence and battery. In the end of all the chaos, she ended up pleading guilty to the felony intimidation charge in exchange for the other charges to be dismissed. Amber ended up taking a plea deal and was put on probation for 906 days, and everyone got to watch it all happen on Instagram, like through different news outlets on different Instagram stories. Yeah. Moving on to number 4, we have Lindsay Lohan. She's been on one of my similar lists for getting exposed for photoshopping some of her pictures on her social media, and in reality, she's gotten exposed for a variety of things throughout her career, but one of them that people could not understand was when she got caught shoplifting. Back in 2012, video footage surfaced on Instagram catching her in the act of stealing a necklace from a Venice jeweler, which was worth $2,500. She was charged for theft, but because the necklace was worth more than $900, by law, it was considered a grand theft, which made the crime a felony. Lindsay denied the allegations and said she didn't steal it, but the surveillance video proves that she never paid for it. However, by the end of the investigation, no charges were brought against her. Lindsay claims that they loaned her the necklace and then she returned it back to her stylist later on, and the stylist did not return it to the jeweler on time. But thanks to the footage, we got to see it firsthand, and it looked to me like she was caught red-handed. In the 3rd place on our list is Bella Thorne. The former Disney star was exposed back in June 2019 after a hacker got a hold of some of her nude photos and threatened to release them. They were blurring certain parts out of her photos and posting them on Instagram and other social media platforms, threatening to reveal the full pictures. But this one had an interesting turn of events because not only was Bella Thorne exposed for her nudes, but she decided to expose the hacker and fight back. She shared screenshots of the text messages from them, exposing all of their threats and harassment. But ultimately, she outplayed them and ended up posting her own nude photos for the world to see. And she said, "It's my decision. Now you don't get to take another thing from me. I can sleep tonight better knowing I took my power back." That you did. It would take some serious balls to be posting your own nude photos for the entire world to see. Obviously, the pictures were taken down from Twitter and from Instagram because that's not allowed. But still. In spot number 2 is Tiger Woods. The world's greatest golfer was exposed online for being a serial cheater after his wife chased him out of the house with a golf club. The incident actually happened a few years before trends were a thing on social media, so we actually got all the details on the story down the road as news outlets continued to talk about the most controversial night of his career. Photos leaked online which showed him checking into a hotel with an NYC nightclub hostess named Rachel. The whole story was revealed, and on Thanksgiving night, his wife went through his phone after he fell asleep and saw that he was texting Rachel saying, "You are the only one I've ever loved." So his wife started texting Rachel back as if she was Tiger and got all the info that she needed. That's when she started screaming and chased him out of the house with a golf club in hand. She smashed up his Escalade and hit him in the mouth, which completely knocked him unconscious, and the neighbors actually saw the altercation and had to call him an ambulance. Well, let me tell you, that is some we put on Instagram. People don't forget. In the number 1 spot is Demi Lovato. It's common for celebrities to have private Instagram accounts referred to as fintas, so they can express themselves without being scrutinized by fans. But recently, Demi has been exposed for allegedly having one of these accounts which has posted meme captions and images about Selena Gomez. The account name goes by Trauma Queen Forever, and screenshots showed pictures that slandered Selena. People are saying it's Demi behind the account, and the main reason they think so is because Demi's real-life friends followed this account. The account has now been disabled since it all came to surface, and there's actually a new trending hashtag going around right now. Hashtag Demi Lovato is over party. To me, I feel like it's gonna matter who you believe. Do you think Demi's behind the account? Do you think it's just a fan account and maybe they've made it look like Demi is behind the account? I don't know. Demi and Selena have had some beef in the past, but they seem to be good these days.